Hi there, I'm Ross the music teacher, here today to talk to you about 7 chords. What are they? How do we use them? Where do they fit inside of a major scale? And how do we play them on the bass guitar? 7 chords, despite their name, are not chords made out of 7 notes. They're actually made out of 4 notes. We take an existing triad and we add the extension of a 7th. In this instance, the 7th is an interval, and all an interval is the distance between 2 notes. So when we're talking about a major scale, there are 2 different kinds of intervals that happen to be a 7th. The first is a major 7th, the second is a dominant 7th. So how do we tell the 2 apart? If we use C as our reference, C is both the root and the octave, we can find the major 7 by going down a half step below the octave. So the interval of our root to this note, that is a major 7th interval. A dominant 7 is a whole step away from our octave, and that looks and sounds like this. Okay, so though it can be confusing, any chord that is coming from a major scale is going to have a triad with either a dominant 7 or a major 7 added on top of it, and that's why we call it an extension. Okay, so the triads that naturally occur within a major scale are major triads, minor triads, and diminished triads. If we take a major triad and we add a major 7th to that, we have created a major 7 chord. So from the root to the 3rd is the interval of a major 3rd. From the 3rd to the 5th is the interval of a minor 3rd. And then from the 5th to the major 7th is a major 3rd. So we're going major 3rd, minor 3rd, major 3rd. Okay, so that creates a major 7 arpeggio. When we take a major triad and we add the dominant 7, which again is a whole step away from the octave, we have a major 3rd between the root and the 3rd, a minor 3rd between the 3rd and the 5th, and then an additional minor 3rd between the 5th and the 7th. This creates a dominant or a dominant 7 chord. Okay, now if we take a minor triad and we add the dominant 7 to it, we have a minor 3rd between the root and the 3rd, a major 3rd between the 3rd and the 5th, and another minor 3rd between the 5th and the 7th. That chord is a minor 7 chord. Okay? And then if we take a diminished arpeggio and we add the dominant 7, so we have a minor 3rd between the root and the 3rd, a minor 3rd between the 3rd and the 5th, and then a major 3rd between the 5th and the 7th, we have a minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished chord. Okay? There is such a thing as a fully diminished chord. That's something we'll address later. So if we are playing the 4 different kinds of 7 chords that diatonically or naturally occur in a major key, we're going to have major 7 chords, dominant 7 chords, minor 7 chords, and minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished chords. In the major scale, they happen in a certain sequence. Okay, so if we're in the key of C major, the root chord, the 1 chord, is going to be a major 7 arpeggio. The 2 chord is a minor 7 arpeggio. The 3 chord is also a minor 7 arpeggio. The 4 chord is a major 7 arpeggio. The 5 chord is the only dominant. The sixth chord is another minor 7 chord or arpeggio. And then the 7 is where we build the minor 7 flat 5. And then we're back to the root where we started. Okay? So the sequence of major 7 goes on the root, minor 7 for the second chord, minor 7 for the third chord, major 7 for the fourth chord, dominant for the fifth chord, minor 7 for the sixth chord, and half diminished or minor 7 flat 5 for the 7 chord. That pattern is going to be consistent across all major keys. So we want to dedicate that pattern to memory and play this through both sides of our cycle of fifths, right? So play it over the keys that have sharps in them and the keys that have flats in them. Now, there are other types of 7 chords, one of which being the fully diminished. There's also such a thing as a minor major 7. And if those are topics that you're interested in, that you're curious about, please write a question in the comments and I can make another video covering some of the various 7 chords. The ones that I covered today are the ones that naturally occur in a major scale. And all I mean by naturally occur means we're not changing any of the notes. We're not adding sharps, we're not adding flats. We're using just the notes that are part of the key that we're playing in. And that's really, really where we want to base our knowledge. If you found this video informative or helpful, please leave a like, subscribe, or if you have any questions, please put those in the comments and I will address those in another video in the future. Thank you. Happy playing.